Hi crochet friends. All right, so here's a quick little video on how to double crochet. If you've never tried it before, or if you just need a refresher, this will be a great video for you. So when you make a chain, and it doesn't matter how many you have chained, when you start off your double crochet, you need to actually skip the first 3 stitches, and I'll explain why in a minute. Remember, I've taught you, you don't ever count the one on your hook, and we're going to skip the first 3. So I have one here, and a stitch here. I'm going to skip those and I'm going to actually put my stitch into the 4th one, okay? So again, I'll explain why in a minute. When you do a double crochet, you need to wrap the yarn over your hook first. And one of the common questions I get is, do I have to wrap it all the way around? Well, no, because then you're going to have 2 pieces of yarn on your hook. But just remember that you always wrap from the back and you bring it over, and as long as the yarn is draped over, you're fine, okay? So I'm going to take this out. And so when you do a double crochet, you wrap the yarn over, and then you're going to go into that 4th stitch. You're going to go through the stitch. That's what it's going to look like. And the way I hold my yarn, I don't have to wrap it because the way I hold it, it's already there when I put my hook through. So I'm going to grab, you have to yarn over, which is this piece right here. And then you're going to pull that through the hole and stop. And you have 3 left on your hook, okay? You're going to yarn over again. And you're going to go through 2, just the first 2. So I'm going to go through 1 and 2. I have 2 left on my hook. I'm going to yarn over again and go through the last 2. And that is a double crochet. So watch me, I'm going to do a few more. Again, you're going to wrap the yarn over. Remember, we're going to go into the next stitch now because we're starting a new stitch. So you're going to wrap the yarn over, go into the stitch, yarn over and come back through the hole and stop. We're going to yarn over and go through those first 2. And then wrap your yarn over again and go through the last 2. There's another double crochet. The one on the end here is those 3 that we skipped. The reason we skip 3, just like when I teach you new single crochet, when we start that chain, we skip 1, but we skip 3 because chaining 3 is the same height as a double crochet. So when you skip 3, it pulls them straight up and it helps create a nice straight edge on the row. And once we get a couple rows, you'll see how it straightens out. Let's do another stitch. So double crochet, you yarn over, you go into the next stitch, you bring the yarn back through, you yarn over, go through 2, yarn over, go through 2. And so if you can see, we're starting to build our row. And it's gonna, double crochet is nice because it's taller, it works up faster, and it covers more surface area in a quicker amount of time versus the single crochet that I taught you. It also drapes really nice. So if you have a scarf or a blanket made out of the double crochet, it just lays really nice on you. Okay, so again, so yarn over, go into the next stitch, put it through, yarn over and come back through the stitch and stop. Then you want to yarn over, and I want to say something here. When you're coming through these 2, if for some reason this one gets tight, and it happens often depending on how you hold your hook and yarn, if you just take your finger and kind of hold down under it, if you see, it can open up that stitch so you can get through it very easily. So if you ever have a problem with that, just pull down on that middle one and it'll loosen it up for you. Okay, so I'll do a couple more and then I'll stop and just yarn over, go into the stitch, and you're going to keep going. I'm going to come back on here when my row is finished so I can teach you how to turn around. Okay, so I finished my row, and when you're done, you want to make sure that you go into that last one. And to count your stitches, I've already taught you how to count, so you won't really need my help here, unless you have never taken my class and you're watching this. But when we count, we never count the one on the hook because it hasn't been worked. So we're going to count all the ones after it. So I'm going to count, and I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And this little side chain right here is when we skipped those 3. We never count that as a stitch. So I have 10. And if you remember, I started out with 13 and we skipped 3. So 13 minus 3 is 10. I should have 10 stitches. Every time I start a new row, I should have 10. So if you are having issues with your work growing wide or decreasing and you're losing stitches, count for the first few rows. I know it's annoying, or sometimes you just don't want to do it, but if you count, I promise you're going to train your eyes where to go every time, and then you won't have to count later and you can enjoy your crocheting. All right, so when you finish a row, you want to chain 3. So when I taught you beginner class, you would just chain 1, but that's because you were doing single crochets and they're shorter. We have to chain 3. So there's 1, here's 2, and here's 3. So we chain 3, and then we're just going to turn our work over. And you got to be careful that when you start your first stitch, we don't crochet into any of those chain 3s. We want to start, if you can see right here, you want to start right there in the very first stitch, okay? So we're going to yarn over, go into that stitch, and you're going to just do everything I taught you all the way across the whole row. Yarn over, go into the next stitch, yarn over, come through, yarn over through 2, yarn over through 2, and that's it. You keep doing it over and over. You get to the end, chain 3, flip it around, and just keep going until it gets as long as you want. So I hope you guys learned something on this quick little video. Hopefully it lets me upload the whole thing at once. And if you have any questions, would you please comment below? If you actually watched this video, would you give it a like so that I know that you actually got to see it and that everything got uploaded properly? And again, I will be trying to post more short videos like this off and on. I am available for teaching classes. You just got to message me and we can work out a time and date. So look forward to hearing from you guys soon. Take care.